Hi, Amy with AJ's Vintage Designs and Fashion Toppings, and I'm going to be doing a rustic look on this Lane chest. It's got a lot of details to it. Look at all those carvings and details. I'm gonna make this a little more masculine. I'm gonna have some fun with black, which is Dixie Belle's Caviar, and some burnt orange, which is Dixie Belle's Rusty Nail, and we're gonna be adding some patina. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm gonna start off with, I'm using Dixie Belle's, it's a flat mini, small brush, and I'm gonna start off with the Rusty Nail. I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Now this is a gorgeous color. Okay, I'm gonna mist my brush, so it's just a little damp. The only thing I did for prep on this piece is clean it. Okay, and I'm going to actually take, there's a lot of details, and we're gonna make those details pop when we get farther into the stage, but I'm gonna start off by just getting a coat of the Rusty Nail, and I'm not going all the way down, and I will be painting black over this, but I haven't decided if I'm gonna do a little wet distressing to show this underneath, so that is why I'm going to do, you'll see what I'm doing. I'm starting at the top, and I'm working my way down so I have less paint on my brush the farther I get down. And when I get to the bottom, I'm just flicking my wrist. Because I'm gonna be putting black over this. See that rough edge that I'm doing right here? I'm gonna be putting black over it, but I want that rough edge to be peeking through my black, because I'm leaving the brown at the bottom raw wood. So, there we go. I'm not getting the orange up here because I'm just gonna be doing black and patina up there. So, there we go. See what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this little edge here? I want that to be nice and rough, just very whispery. Okay, I'm gonna continue that all the way across. Okay, I might want to come down farther in some areas and not so far down in others, just so it's not so even. Making sure I have jagged edges coming through the center here. Just flicking my wrist with hardly any paint on my brush, so it looks nice and raw. Turn my brush sideways just so I can get some more unevenness at my bottom border. This wood had some flaws in it, so if you're wondering why I'm painting it, it needed to be painted because it had some flaws in the finish. So this also will hide those flaws. Okay, so I'm gonna come back. As soon as this dries, I'm gonna give it about 20 minutes. And as soon as it dries, I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna put a second coat on it because I want the solid Rusty Nail coverage here. As you can see what what my plan is, you might be able to see it. So I'm going to let this dry, probably 20, 30 minutes. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna put a second coat on it so that I have my solid coverage, and then we're gonna start doing the black paint. Okay, so I have 2 coats of the Rusty Nail on here, and you notice I didn't worry about how nice and neat I did it. I just wanted to make sure I have my little rough edge going along down here. So I have 2 coats on it, it's completely dried, and now it's time to add the black, which is the Caviar. And I'm just gonna put some in a dish. Just put a little in the dish. My brushes are already damp because I just washed them. Otherwise, I would be spritzing them with water and working with a damp brush. And I'm just putting my black over the Rusty Nail, but I'm not gonna come all the way down to where the Rusty Nail ends. I'm gonna be slightly above it because I wanna be able to see that Rusty Nail through my black, or out the bottom. I want to be neater with this black because it's the final coat that people will see. So I will be doing probably 2 coats of the black because I don't want to see the rusty nail through my top part unless I'm going to distress back to see it. So I can still see the orange, but I'm gonna have the black coming right up to it. So just a little bit of the rusty nail or the burnt orange is peeking through the black. Okay, while I'm letting that first coat of black dry, I'm gonna go ahead and apply a coat of black on the entire top because we're gonna have some fun with patina. And so I need to get at least 2 coats of black, just put it on normal, black paint on the entire top. And I am using a damp brush, putting on thin coats. So let's go ahead and get this part done. Okay, so the paint has dried. I let it sit overnight because I put, so many coats on in one day. Usually I would do 2 coats, let it sit overnight and do 2 coats, but I did it all in one day, kind of sped it up with the heat gun. So I let this sit overnight, and now we're going to have some fun and we're gonna be adding some patina. And the first thing I'm gonna be using is iron patina with some highlights of bronze patina, the green activation spray. Decided yet, but I might be using the blue activation spray as well. We'll see. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and lift the camera up so that you can see from above because I'm gonna be adding some patina to the top and then also adding some patina so it looks like the patina is kind of growing down to the sides. So I'm gonna raise the camera and we'll go ahead and start with the top. Okay, the first step is you need to make sure that you shake up your patina really well because there's metal bits inside this paint, and it's the metal bits that when it's introduced to the activation spray, it's the metal bits that actually causes the chemical reaction or the patina look. So you have to make sure all that metal is mixed up in the paint really well. If you don't shake it up, then you're just gonna have gray paint and it's not gonna have anything to react to. So you do have to make sure you shake it up. Now I'm using chip brushes because as soon as I get done with this process, I throw these brushes away. You do not want patina products down your plumbing. Okay, I'm gonna start off with the iron. And I'm also kind of looking at, there's a lot of flaws in the wood. That's one reason I painted this piece. So where the flaws are, I'm gonna strategically also put patina in those areas to hide the flaws. Also make it kind of look artistic too. Okay, so I'm dabbing. Now you can brush this on, but I prefer to dab. And I know I've got a flaw right here, so I'm just going to make just a little random, just like a chunk of rust is gonna be in the center. My hair is shedding, there we go. And so I'm dabbing it, and by dabbing it, it's actually creating little peaks and valleys, it's adding texture. Now if you want really chunky patina, you can add like sea spray to it or any type of texture additive, but I think using the chip brush and a dabbing motion gives it enough texture for what I'm looking for. Okay, and I'm gonna get towards the front. I have it. Make sure I have some along this edge. Kind of growing. Just gotta have fun with it. You don't have to have a plan, just play with it. Dab some more. I have a flaw in my wood right here in the front. So I am planning on making sure that my patina does kind of come down and I can cover this little flaw right here. I mean, patina is a great way if you have damaged wood to hide that damage if it's not something that you want to challenge and take on having to fix. So I'm just having patina look like it's like growing like a vine all over. As far as placement, there is no wrong or right answer as far as placement. You do what feels natural to you. I always love to put patina on corners. Always love to have it on the corners. Dabbing it on. I'm being thick with it. And I think I'm gonna want it coming around to this door. See, I have it growing down onto here because I want that added texture on the front of my piece as well. Like I said, I'm making this masculine for an office. This is actually going to my husband's office and he requested patina. He didn't care what color I did as long as there was patina on it because he loves it when I do patina. Okay. So I'm getting my corners, but I don't want it to be uniform. I want it to be sporadic. So I'm gonna put just a little bit here. I don't want it to look like a Dalmatian though. So I'm not gonna get too spotty. Okay, get these corners over here. So I've added the iron. Now, I think I'm gonna have a little bit of fun and add some of the bronze just for some peekaboos. So I'm doing the same thing. Put forward so you can see. There you go, see I'm just adding some random bronze. Not a lot, but just some added spots of bronze. And if I get too much, I can go back and just add some more iron on top of it. But so it's not just gonna be all rusty. I'm just gonna hit a little bit of each rusted area with a little bit of bronze, just a tiny bit. Like I said, Don't plan, just pop it on. Okay, just add a little bit of brown to the front. And you don't have to use the activation spray with the patina paints. You can just use them like a metallic because they have such a beautiful metal sheen to them. So I'm adding just little spots of bronze into the iron. Okay, so the first coat is dried. I did add some more on areas that I thought were kind of missing some while I was doing the sides. But the next step is the fun part. Now, patina is unpredictable. So I have a few ways to make it a little bit more predictable, and I'm gonna show you as we go. Now, my first tip is, when you're using iron, you have to use the green activation spray, and that's that way with most brands, because the green activation spray is what's gonna create the rust. Now, I did put some bronze on here, and the bronze will react with either color, the blue or the green, and here's the blue. Now, a lot of the patinas will come with a spray bottle. Now, what I recommend is after you use it, you take the spray bottle out and then you clean it, because you don't want this corrosive activation spray up into the mechanics of your sprayer, because it'll ruin your sprayer. So they come with the little lid. So after you get done using it, clean out the nozzle and put the lid back on. But this is what I like to do. See these? These are those little cheap travel bottles that you get from any of your CVS or Walgreens for traveling. It's a nice mist. So you have a lot more control over the spray, a lot less drippage, and everything in it is plastic. There's no metal in it, so it's all plastic because it's travel safe. So I like to put my activation sprays in these little bottles because it gives you a soft mist. You're not gonna have a lot of drips. Now one tip I forgot to tell you earlier is, let's say instead of using black, you were using like a cream or a beige or a white, and you don't want to see the activation spray and the rust dripping down on your white paint. Now what you can do is, before you add any of this patina product, before you add this stuff, I could have sealed this whole thing with a satin clear coat. And that would then protect my paint, so that as I'm spraying and I have drippage, I take a baby wipe and I wipe it up, and it will not soak into my paint, and I won't have those drip marks. Okay, so what I'm gonna be doing now is, while we apply the patina paint, we have to do our activation while it's wet. So we're gonna be working in small sections. And I'm gonna start with this section right here. And I did not put my chip brushes in a bag, so they turned hard. So I need to get 2 new chip brushes. I don't want to use the sprayer, so I'm going to be showing you how to use this little sprayer. And then with the blue spray for the copper, I'm going to be pouring this into a bowl, and I'm just going to use a little dauber sponge just to put the blue activation spray where the bronze is, because blue will not activate with the iron, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and get started. You got to shake up your activation sprays. Got to shake them up. You got to shake up your paints as usual. Get everything ready before you begin. Have it all setting out, because this has to be done while it's wet. So I'm getting my lids off of everything, getting my paintbrushes ready. I'm gonna pour some of the blue, not much. I'm just gonna pour a little bit of the blue into a bowl. I didn't put much into a bowl, I'll show you, because I'm not doing a lot of the blue. I'm doing mostly green. So, I mean, I literally just put, you can see in there, just a little in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and have some fun. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do my iron first. I'm gonna do this corner, and this is what I'm gonna show you. And then everything else I'll do in fast motion, so that I don't keep you here that long. My tutorials are step by step, and usually not very short. So I'm putting the iron on the exact same places where I had it before. If I go outside of the area that I've already done, it's not gonna react properly. It has to be on an area that already has a first coat. It needs the 2 coats. You don't want to skip it. It needs the 2 coats for the activation to work. So I'm quickly applying. Everywhere I had my first coat of iron, I'm just going over it with a second coat. Doesn't matter if I've gone over the bronze, because I'll add some more bronze on here. And my husband loves patina, so I'm going very heavy with the patina. And chip brush is shed, so make sure you get any little bristles out as it happens. Okay, let me just come around to the side. So in case I have any drippage, I can make sure that it's gonna activate. I'm going over all these areas just to make sure that I don't have anything drying on me. And you can have a baby wipe or I have a rag nearby in case it does drip, and I don't want to get a lot of dripping. I want to keep this nice and neat. Okay, now I'm going to do my bronze. Going over the same areas. The same areas where I had the bronze before. And the bronze is pretty all by itself. So even if you don't get any activation spray where the bronze is, it's still going to be pretty. Because bronze and copper, as far as metallic paints, have a gorgeous natural sheen and metallic property to it. Just dabbing in random places. Right over where I had it before. Okay, now while it's wet, this is where the fun begins. I'm going to mist it with my green activation spray all over the areas primarily that are rust. And I don't know if you saw that. I mean, you have so much control over this. It's not dripping. If I would have sprayed it with this, I would have big chunks and big droplets, and then it would start to run. But I want more control, so I'm using this little mister. So I'm not gonna have a lot for runs. Now I'm gonna dip my dauber into the blue activation spray, and I'm just gonna dab a little bit, and this is where you're not gonna have as much control. The dauber is gonna want to drip, so I have my rag handy. And I'm just gonna go over some of the bronze areas with the dauber. Now the green activation will activate on the bronze. It'll turn like a whitish green, but the blue just adds a little bit more character. The blue will not activate on the rust. And there I got some runs. So I'm stopping it with my rag because I don't want the drippies. Just dabbing where I have the bronze. The drippies are okay. If you don't mind drippies, it's okay. Since this connects, I may as well do that at the same time. Missed it. And then I'm gonna dab a little bit of blue. And this just gives you a kind of a cool finish. Okay. You can already see some green appearing already. Now the one that takes the longest to activate is the iron. The iron's gonna take several hours to activate, but that's the fun part. You don't know what you're gonna get, and I think I got everything. You don't know what you're gonna get until it's done activating. That's the fun part. See, it's already starting to turn blue and green. And then we're gonna accentuate it with gilding waxes when it's all dried. Okay, I'm gonna quickly do this whole piece so that you'll be able to see the activation. Okay, so I've let the patina process for a couple hours, and as you can see, the rust doesn't process as quickly as the bronze, but there's a lot of blue on here, and so don't panic. What I do now is I add a little layer. I'm gonna add some more of the bronze on top of just the blue areas, just to lighten them up a little bit and have the blue peeking through. I told you the bronze has a beautiful metallic sheen, and I'm just adding some of the bronze over the blue, and that basically lightens up the blue a little bit and has the blue just peeking through. So I'm just adding some of my bronze so that the blue is peeking through. I want it to look layered. I am not gonna be adding activation spray back on it again. My activation, that's done. So right now I'm just adding a little bit of the bronze, because this is dry. I'm just adding a little bit of the bronze back over the green or the activation. There we go. So you can see it tones it down, but you can still see the green through it. I'm gonna tone this down a little bit. I love the bold colors of the patina. I just wanna tone it down. So I'm using my chip brush and lightly dabbing. So I see how green this is. I'm just taking my chip brush, very little of the bronze on my brush, and I'm just lightly dabbing it over the blue. So the blue is peeking through the bronze. I want it to look layered. I don't want it to look like it was all created at once. So you can see how that allows the green to peek through, or the blue. It's still gonna develop a little bit more. I think it's mostly done developing, but I'm just going over the areas that are the blue or greenish tint to lighten them up. Put a little of my brush, just very little, and I'm just dabbing. I want that color to peek through. All that patina, I want it to peek through, so it looks like it's been oxidized over time. And I'll take some close-up pictures and insert them here too. See how that tones it down? And you can still see the color coming through. This has to look like it's just been done over time. So I love how just having that light color of the other patina peeking through. I don't want it to be all bold, and like that's very bold and very strong. So I'm gonna tap into my bronze paint, and I'm gonna tap it off a little bit so it's dry. And I'm just gonna dab. See how I'm dabbing that? And it lightens up those colors. It's putting a little bit of a metal sheen on top from the bronze. There we go. See how it does that? I mean, I barely have anything on my brush. I'm just using it to tone it down. There we go. That look pretty, and it looks like it's been done over time. Okay, now that I added the bronze to tone things down a little bit, but if you really want to bring out the edges and add some extra age, here's another option. Gilding waxes. Now I'm going to use a black gilding wax with a stenciling brush. I'm going to tap it in there, and I'll zoom you in. Okay, now you can go along your edges with the black gilding wax, and that will add some more depth. Just very subtle, just along the edges where it would look like, you know, the patina has worn. See how you can see that black line now? You can do that along all of your edges. Anywhere where there's a border, you can just add a little bit. It's just very subtle. It's another option to tone down your patina. So even though patina is unpredictable, you can alter the way it looks to get the look you're looking for. So I'm just adding black just to tone things down a little bit. So if you're afraid to use patina because it's so unpredictable, you don't have to be. Some of my areas that didn't process because I didn't have enough solution on them, I'm just going to add some gilding wax. I'm going to go along all of my edges and borders just to age them up a little bit. I want it to look aged. I don't want to look bright, but it's still showing the patina through it. I'm just accentuating corners and edges with black. So you can see that little spot right there and that little spot right there. I'm just adding a little black along the edges just to age it up. And this is black gilding wax. I'm kind of almost like an old world map where the edges are kind of darker. So I'm going along my patina areas and just adding some darker interest. You don't have to do all of these steps. You can stop whenever you're happy, but I'm showing you different options because, like I said, patina is unpredictable, but you can control it by adding other products to get the look that you had envisioned. And I'm aging this up. Still seeing the blue through, but I got the black now, I got the bronze on top. I'm just adding a little bit of an aged element by putting the black on all the edges. And you have a little bit more control than using regular wax because I'm only wanting it in very small areas. I don't want to use regular wax because the sheen will be different, and I wanted to put it in just very small areas and not have to worry about wiping it back. So now that I'm going to finish going all the way around the piece with my gilding waxes. There's a lot of steps to this, but you can pick and choose the steps you want. I've showed you the patina process. You could have stopped at just the layered colors, but if you wanted to add the patina, I also told you how to tone down the patina, control the patina, add more colors to the patina. So there's a lot of options in this tutorial. You can take bits and pieces and make it your own. Okay. Okay, well, this has been Amy with AJ's Vintage Designs and Fashion Toppings. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and you don't have to do every step. You pick and choose the things you like to make the look your own. And I am really happy with the results. I'm happy with how it all sealed up. And once again, I'll have pictures at the end so you can see a lot of close-ups. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks.